Bounce Chef.
This is WB17 News at 10.
There will not be a strike tonight.
One more SEPTA strike-free day in Philadelphia as union officials decide not to walk out yet. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Yates. It has been a full week now since threats of a strike if an acceptable contract wasn't laid out. Tonight, the strike deadline will pass again without a walkout planned. Our Byron Scott is standing by live now at the Wyndham Franklin Plaza with the latest. Byron.
Well, Tony, as you heard, no strike tonight into tomorrow on Sunday, but no big surprise there. Today, though, negotiators met on 2 occasions, negotiators for both sides. And at that second meeting, the union handed over to SEPTA its latest offer, offer number 6. But if you listen to both sides talk about it, you think they were talking about different documents.
I think the numbers, looking at the numbers, do show that an agreement is there to be made.
Local 234 business agent Bruce Bodner says the union's latest offer would save SEPTA $3 million a year. But SEPTA says it's an offer it can refuse.
We've had a quick chance to look at it, and I think I can characterize it in a couple of words: totally unacceptable. In fact, the union's proposal that was given to us today has a cost to the authority of somewhere around $20 million over the 3 years, not a savings of $3 million.
And so, as Cohen put it, while still talking, both sides, SEPTA and the union, are moving further and further apart.
He handed us the latest iteration, which, as I said, moves backwards from where we were the last time he handed us a document, which, by the way, moved backwards from the last time he handed us a document, which, by the way, I can tell you, moved backwards from the last time he handed us a document.
There's an increasing number of people who are growing concerned about what's happening here, and they want this to be resolved. And I think that it should be resolved, and it can be resolved, and we're hopeful that it can be resolved and will be resolved tomorrow.
And on that, no talks are scheduled until tomorrow. SEPTA must look at this latest offer. But for now, again, no strike tomorrow. Again, no big surprise there. The union says, though, that it may walk out, though, on 12:01 on Monday morning. That's the latest. Stay tuned. I'm Byron Scott down here in Center City. Tony.
Thank you very much, Byron. SEPTA commuters aren't out of the woods yet either. The contract for the suburban division expires April 1st. Suburban workers were out for 2 weeks in 1995. Officials on both sides held negotiating sessions yesterday. They're scheduled to meet again on Monday. The devastation in North Carolina is mind-boggling if you've never seen the wrath a tornado can leave behind. For as far as a bird's eye view can show, nearly all the homes and buildings in Stoneville are now ruins. The storm killed 14 people and injured more than 100 and caused $13 million in damage in the state.
We have 41 houses that were 100% destroyed. We have 132 houses that were partially destroyed.
The National Guard and hundreds of volunteers have begun the cleanup, expected to take months. The toll is being counted up in the wake of yesterday's tornado in Gainesville, Georgia, which formed so quickly there was no warning. 11 people were killed there and more than 100 injured. The tornado also destroyed or damaged more than 400 homes, 30 businesses, and 11 poultry farms. Some 20,000 chickens in those farms were killed. In San Diego, El Niño-borne storms caused a massive sinkhole to form. In an effort to prevent it from becoming a deadly hazard, crews spent much of the day filling it with concrete. Closer to home, lawyers for accused baby killer Amy Grossberg will try to get charges of first-degree murder and murder by abuse or neglect thrown out before her trial starts in May. They say she can't be convicted of murder now that her boyfriend, or former boyfriend, Brian Peterson, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The pair was charged with murder after the body of their newborn son was found in a dumpster outside a hotel near the University of Delaware. Here at home, it was 3 weeks ago that a shootout took place outside the Public League Championships at the Palestra. The incident almost put a stop to this weekend's All-Star game. Dan Fiorucci has that story.
At St. Joe's today, security for the Public League games was twice as heavy as usual, but no one seemed to mind.
You feel safer, whatever it takes to have a safe game.
The security was meant to avoid a repeat of a scene like this one outside the Palestra 3 weeks ago. 3 wounded, 1 shot dead in a drug-related shooting that had nothing to do with the basketball game. After that moment of violence, Drexel University, citing security concerns, dropped plans to hold the Public League games on its campus.
I felt bad. And I felt bad for the players because they were anxious to play. They was excited about this.
Then St. Joe's came to the rescue, offering to hold the games here.
Happy. They give me a chance, they give a lot of players a chance to get looked at in college coaches.
For these students, this game is vitally important. For many of them, it means the difference between getting an athletic scholarship to college and not getting one.
You're talking $20,000 a year for 4 years, on average.
And so these games have rebounded from the violence that marred them 3 weeks ago, giving some great ball players a shot at a scholarship and a brighter future. In Winfield, Dan Fiorucci, WB17 News at 10.
New pregnancy prevention ads are out with some advice that has been known for years in the medical field but has never been prescribed, so to speak. They say pregnancy can be prevented up to 3 days after having unprotected sex by taking an overdose of birth control pills. The spots are being aired on several TV stations and are posted at bus stations throughout Philadelphia. Many of today's working women are saying so long to high heels. A survey for foot and ankle surgeons shows more women are ditching the 1- and 2-inch heels for sneakers or flats, and fewer women are suffering from bunions and pinched nerves, a price many have paid by wearing high-heeled, pointy-toed, narrow shoes. Researchers in New Mexico say an enzyme could be the reason why men die of heart disease at a younger age than women. It's called hepatic lipase. They say it plays a role in regulating cholesterol levels. Men have higher levels of that enzyme than premenopausal women, and researchers say that could explain why women typically have better cholesterol than men. More to come on WB17 News at 10. The center of another presidential sex scandal gives a warning to the media. And while Titanic is gearing up to win some Oscars, some other contenders are being considered for a different kind of award. Craig.
Well, there is crazy weather in the 5-day, folks. Maybe some snow. Coming up, Weber with the weather on the WP. Big O?
Big C, half of the Final Four picture was developed today. The Utah running Utes in the Magic Kingdom trying to knock off the defending champs. And Craig, your Tar Heels getting set for a trip to San Antonio.
Plus, Kennedy picks up some priceless items at an auction. Details when WB17 News at 10 continue.
There's 50 years of toughness in every F-Series truck. And now you can drive it home today for only $237 down and $237 a month. The big Ford F-150. It makes the tough stuff look easy. And it's only $237 a month with $237 down. Or drive a Ranger for only $165 a month. Ranger, built Ford tough and only $165 a month. For the best deals in America's favorite lineup of trucks, see your Quality Plus Ford dealer today.
What can I get for this?
It's a Whopper with a bite out of it.
My usual. But then I just heard about that.
Oh, McDonald's Big Extra.
It's a whole new taste from McDonald's. Fresh lettuce and tomatoes.
And 20% more beef than a Whopper. Yeah. And at $2.99 with large fries and a medium soft drink, it's a better value.
So what do you say?
Are you kidding me?
I can't even get rid of these.
The new McDonald's Big Extra. Did somebody say McDonald's?
In our world tonight, Indiana police have a 35-year-old man in custody tonight in connection with the package bomb that killed a Vermont teenager. Police say Christopher Dean felt cheated by the 17-year-old victim when he didn't deliver CB radio equipment Dean had paid for. Serbian authorities blocked 3 U.S. congressmen from entering the province of Kosovo. They accused them of supporting ethnic Albanian separatists. Pope John Paul II arrives in Nigeria for a 3-day visit. Human rights activists are hoping the pontiff will be able to persuade the government to release some political prisoners. And Dr. Benjamin Spock, surrogate parent to millions of baby boomers and their children, is laid to rest in La Jolla, California. At his request, the doctor goes out with a New Orleans-style jazz procession, and yes, that is his widow dancing on his hearse. President Clinton takes part in a national town meeting on reforming Social Security in a 10-city satellite conference sponsored by Philadelphia's Pew Charitable Trust. Clinton joined in a discussion with lawmakers and citizens. He made Social Security the issue in his weekly radio message.
For 60 years, Social Security has meant more than an ID number on a tax form, more than a monthly check in the mail. It reflects our deepest values, our respect for our parents, and our belief.
And what it all means to you.
Can't help but just say, wow.
Drama, passion, suspense, tropospheric undulations. Every night on Weather Center PM.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
It's the first full day of spring, but you would never know it in the Northeast. Good evening and welcome to this edition of Weather Center, sponsored by Budgetel Inns. I'm Christina Abernathy.
I'm sorry, and I'm Sharon Resulton. The snow continues to fall in parts of New England. We're going to show folks some radars of that region, and it's another wet night in the Pacific Northwest. Christina's going to tell you about that in a few minutes, but first, we'll get on to the snow. And the snow began before dawn this morning in the Lake Placid, New York area. It fell throughout the day and was heavy at times. 5 inches fell between 1 and 2 this afternoon. There is more on the way. Off and on snow will continue through tomorrow morning. More than a foot is expected before it's all said and done. Boston, Massachusetts is under a winter weather advisory through Sunday. It's going to get very windy with snow and sleet changing to all snow. You may see 2 to 4 inches by tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek at your satellite picture. I'm going to go ahead and put this into motion so that you can actually see the rotation. The area of low pressure is centered just right around the coast there of Virginia, and with the counterclockwise flow around that area of low pressure, well, you can see how the moisture is getting drawn in from the Atlantic. So there's certainly ample moisture to work with across this area, and with high pressure anchored all the way up into Canada and the clockwise flow around that, there's a lot of cold air in place as well. Now, conditions get a little marginal for snowfall as we get a little closer to the warmer ocean water, so coastal areas have generally seen a bit of a mix. So we're now back to drizzle around Boston, for instance. But around Hartford, as you go a little bit further inland, it's a snow event. A little sleet mixing in right now into New York City. Rain and sleet mix around LaGuardia and JFK, so watch for maybe some slick conditions traveling up Interstate 87 as you're coming out of New York City and working up through the Hudson Valley into the Catskills. That may be one area that's particularly slick or treacherous as we head into the overnight. But as you can see, just a potpourri of types of precipitation. The orange is, of course, indicating where we're finding some sleet. We're seeing that up around Portland, Maine. I mentioned a little sleet mixing in with the rain around New York City, and generally kind of a snow event here into parts of Boston, or I should say parts of Massachusetts west of Boston. I'll get it out. In and around the Worcester area, we've actually had reports of some freezing rain. The moral of the story here, folks, is if you are traveling anywhere in the Northeast, plan on some extra travel time and plan on the roadways to be a bit on the slick side. All right, let's start you out looking at a radar Again, you can see the circulation around our area of low pressure as the moisture continues to band on in. Visibility is less than a mile now around Binghamton, New York. The snow is coming down, 3/4 mile visibility. So traveling along Interstate 81 from, say, around the Scranton, Avoca area on up through Binghamton and on up towards Syracuse, you're going to have some tougher travel. Visibilities will be reduced. The winds are picking up in some of these areas, and that will tend to blow the snow around, further reducing visibilities. It's changed over to snow now in Pittsburgh. Light accumulations expected for you. And as I mentioned, a little sleet mixing in with the rain around New York City, eventually changing to all sleet and then all snow as we head toward the morning. You may see a light accumulation as well. As a closer inspection along Interstate 81 from Binghamton up towards Syracuse. Syracuse Airport not reporting much, but it's on the north side of town. So you'll be seeing this as this band of somewhat significant precipitation and maybe even some moderate snow begins to work on over that region. As far as amounts here, again, stretching from the Poconos right on into the Catskills of New York, extending through the Berkshires, and also heading into the Adirondacks and the Green and White Mountains of New Hampshire and Vermont. You're going to definitely find some significant snows, but even coastal areas of Maine could see 6 to 12 inches before all is said and done. Temperatures, as you can see, very much on the cool side, but you factor in the winds, which in some cases are gusting close to 40 miles an hour. That's what it's like around Block Island right now, and it is raw with wind chills in the teens and single digits. Raw too down into the southeast. Temperatures here a good 15 to 20 degrees below where they should be for this time of the year. Hard to believe it's officially spring. Out west, maybe not so hard to believe. Christina will tell you about that. Well, it was a pretty quiet day for the western half of the nation today. The big exception was the Pacific Northwest, where a front is moving through, bringing rain with it. It was the kind of day Portland, Oregon is known for today. Cool temperatures and lots of rain. The rain will continue during the overnight hours, but will taper off to showers during the day Sunday. Temperatures tonight will be in the upper 40s, and tomorrow you may see 60 degrees. Well, here's what we've got going on in the western U.S. We see plenty of cloud cover, especially in the northwestern states. To the south, pretty quiet around San Diego and LA, but north of San Francisco on through western Oregon and western Washington, that's where we are dealing with the rain. And you can see it here. We are getting some pretty soggy weather out ahead of this front, and yet another system, another piece of energy moving in tomorrow, another disturbance, and that's going to mean more wet weather here into northern California and into Oregon, with showers to the north as well. So just sort of a messy situation for you. Here's where the rain is falling. It's begun to rain in Seattle, back towards Portland and Salem, and then southward. But around Portland, over towards the Dalles, soggy weather for you tonight, and you'll continue to see the chance for rain tonight and the chance for showers at least, so watch out for that. Along I-5, it's going to be a bit on the messy side, and that rain extends well to the north on into Seattle and Olympia. Tacoma, look out for wet weather as well. Again, maybe a good night just to stay indoors, sort of sloppy out there. To the south we go, the rain continuing in northern California. We've begun to see it raining now in Sacramento as well.
Use 10.